All right. Hello, everybody. Whoa. We got a little flash there. Whatever. Okay, so here we are. And got Ulysses here. Change the angle a little bit. So the last chapter, Wandering Rocks, we had like 18, 19 filmic scenes. This chapter is a little bit is similar. It's another 30 pages. You should be on page 210. Don't It's like the first part, which I'm going to read, is kind of like a score of what follows. So I'll just read the. Oh, I got an avocado. It's kind of like It's like Bloom. You got the potato. I got my avocado. Okay. So let's look. We're going to read a little bit of this. Chapter 11, the Sirens. Bronze by gold heard the hoof irons, steely ringing, imperfect chips, picking chips off the rocky thumbnails, chips, horrid, and golden flush more, a husky five note blue. Blue bloom is on the gold pinnacle hair, a jumping rose on saltine breast of satin, rose of Castile, trilling, I Dolores, peep, who who's in the peep of gold, Tink cried to bronze in pity, and a call, pure, long, and throbbing, long in dying call, decoy, soft word. But look, the bright stars fade, notes cheer upping answer. Oh, Rose, Castile, the morn is breaking, jingle jangle, jaunted jingling, coin rang, clock clacked, avowal sonnaise, I could rebound of garter, not leave thee, smack la cloche, thigh smack, avow, warm, sweetheart goodbye, jingle blue, bloom, crashing chords, when love absorbs, war, the tympanum, a sail, a veil, a wave upon the waves, lost, throstle, fluted, all is lost now, horn, ha horn, when first he saw, alas, full tup, full throb, warbling, alluring, Martha come, clap, clap, clip, clap, clappity clap. Good God, he never heard in all. Deaf, bald Pat brought the pad knife, took up a moonlit night call, far. I feel so sad. P.S. So lonely, blooming. Listen, the spike and winding cold sea horn, have you the each, and for the other, plash and silent roar. Pearls, when she lists rhapsodies, his. You don't, did not, no, believe, lid, with a cock and a kata, black, deep sounding, ben. No, do. Wait, while you wait, wait while you but wait. Low in the dark middle earth, embedded one, da mine, preacher is he, all gone, all fallen. Tiny, her tremulous fern foils of maiden hair, amen. He gnashed in fury, fro to fro, a batten cool protruding, bronze Lydia by mini gold, by bronze, by gold, in ocean green of shadow, bloom, old bloom, one wrapped, one tapped with a cock. Pray for him, pray, good people. His gouty fingers nankering, big Ben, last rose, Castile of summer, left bloom. I feel so sad alone. Pwee, little wind piped wee. True men, lid cur, cow deed, and doll. I, like you men, will lift your chink and shunk. And oh, wear bronze from anear, wear gold from afar, wear hoofs, roof, craw, crandle. Then not till then, my Erfurftarf, my perf done begin. And then it goes into the main text there. And yeah, I mean, people, I guess if you haven't, I mean, the third chapter was kind of out there. And surely by this, when you get to this chapter, you kind of think like, what the hell is going on? You know, for if you haven't before. I mean, when the first time I read it, I thought it was the third chapter, but I think now reading it now, years later, I think that chapter is probably the weirdest so far. Chapter 11. So it begins with a jumble prelude of phrases or fragments. It's almost like kind of like language poetry, just kind of like they take the text of the of the chapter and they just kind of like take out, do or some kind of erasure. And it follows it's almost like a score. Episode 11 uses a technique similar to episode 10, whereby sections of text that describe events happening in another location interrupt the narrative at hand. The Armand Hotel barmaids Lydia Deuce and Mina Kennedy strain to see the Vice Regal cavalcade out the window, then that again, and then gossip and giggle. Bloom is walking past shop windows nearby. Simon Dedalus enters the Ormond bar, followed by Lenihan looking for Boyle. The barmaids serve them drinks. In the meantime, while buying notepaper to write to Martha, Bloom has noticed Boylan's jaunty car on Essex Bridge. Mindful of Boylan's fast approaching 4 o'clock rendezvous with Molly, Molly decides to follow the car to Ormond Hotel. Outside the hotel, Bloom decides to follow the car. Outside the hotel, Bloom runs into Richie Golding and agrees to have dinner with him. Boylan and Lenihan leaving, past Bob Talley and Ben Dollard on their way in the dining room. Pat, the waiter, takes Golding and Bloom's drink orders. Bloom hears the jingle of Boylan's car pulling away. Dellis and Dollard reminisce about past vocal concerts and the time Dollard had to borrow evening clothes from the Bloom secondhand clothing shop for a performance. Interspersed with these passages are the jingle of Boylan's car and the updates on the progress towards the Blooms. Ben Dollard sings Love and War. Golding reminisces about opera performance. Blooms thinks sympathetically about Golding's chronic back pain. Bloom reminisces about his first fatal meeting with Molly. The song ends to applause. Tom Kiernan enters the bar. Bloom muses on the Dedalus, Golding falling out, ruminating on the melancholy lyrics of Mapari. Bloom thinks about death and Dignam's funeral this morning. Bloom thinks about himself, about the mathematics of music and how Millie has no taste in music. Bloom begins to write a letter to Martha. A recurring tap begins here. That's also in Finnegan's Wake too. Bloom watches Mrs. Deuce flirt at the bar. Tom Kernan requests a Crappie Boy, like a national Irish nationalist song. The Crappie Boy. And Bloom continues to watch Miss Deuce. Bloom walks towards the post office, feeling gassy from the cider he drank. And he regrets making a 5 o'clock appointment to meet Cunningham. And back at the Ormond, someone mentions the Dedalus that Bloom was there and just left, and they discuss Bloom and Molly's vocal talent. The blind piano tuner finally arrives to retrieve the tuning fork. Bloom spots Bridie Kelly, a local prostitute who once had an encounter. He avoids her by looking in a shop window at a picture of Irish patriot Robert Emmet and the famous last words. Bloom reads the speech himself while farting under the noisily approaching tram. Okay, so in the Odyssey, Odysseus orders his men to tie him to the mast of the ship and plug their ears while he doesn't succumb to the beautiful song of the Sirens and be diverted to their deaths. Odysseus chooses to be bound and keep his ears unplugged because he cannot bear the idea of not hearing the Sirens music. Episode 11 of Ulysses accordingly focuses on music. The episode takes place around 4 o'clock in the Armand Bar, where Daedalus, Ben Dollar, Bob Calley entertain the small afternoon dinner crowd with opera love songs and nationalist ballads. The narrative style reinforces the focus on music. The opening section of disjunctive phrases works as sort of a musical overture of a warm-up. The interspersed jingle of Boylan's car, combined with the recurring tap sounds of the blind piano tuner cane, provides a sort of underlying rhythm. The sirens themselves are in part represented by the beautiful barmaids. And Bloom longs again for music to distract him from thoughts of Molly and Boylan. Yet Daedalus and Dullard and Kelly are each past their prime and represent the descent into death. They'll all be dead within a few years. Just as Ulysses and his men escape, so does Bloom ultimately resist the pull of music at the end of the episode and rejecting its sentimental verse and leaving before the self-congratulatory ending of the Crappie Boy. The technique is the third person. It kind of changes. The technique of the third person narrative changes with episode 11. We begin to see in episode 10, the narrative seems to be arranging bits of objective reporting to create specific meaning, as when Bloom is walking, juxtaposed with the old fogey that the barmaids laugh over. The narrative now calls attention to itself as one big text with the purposeful repetition of earlier narrative phrases. The narrative makes the borders of disparate episodes, characters, and monologue narrative bleed together. Parts of Stephen's interior monologue explicitly reemerge here in episode 11. Names become a source of humor as the two men who order tankards of beer are labeled tankards. And the overflowing feelings introduced by Daedalus's song are rendered by a series of composite names as Leopold. The narrative itself is becoming increasingly part of the plot rather than the transparent medium that communicates the plot. This prepares us for the upcoming episodes, which the tone of the narrative will dictate exactly what can be said and what cannot, forcing us to analyze this interference and evaluate how the narrative style understands of the plot. The Sirens episode is generally seen as to represent a turning point in Bloom's attitude towards Boylan and Molly's impending love affair. Bloom coincidentally sees Boylan for the third time today. Instead of hiding as he has done the previous two occasions, Bloom resolves to follow Boylan and even to enter the Osmond Hotel and watch his movements. Though these two men don't actually have a confrontation in episode 11, the emphasis on the offstage drama of Molly Bloom's and Boylan's rendezvous combined with the Love and War theme songs lend a climactic feel to the episode. Okay, so how are we doing? Okay, 13 minutes. So yeah, let's just make it short. So that, I mean, I like to read more, and this. So okay, so yeah, so this is 220 and 240. So yeah, this chapter is actually kind of short. And we got the next one is Cyclops, and I think I'll look into it, but I think the chapter is like kind of narrated by the citizen or something. It's like most of it, like it said before, it was like a lot of third person, kind of like interspersed with stream of consciousness, and then we get this we get this one chapter, the next one where it's narrated by some guy that we haven't even seen in the book yet. So that's all. Joyce. When we get into the Wandering Rocks, Sirens, Cyclops, and the further on, it's a lot of every chapter is like a new narrative style, new narrative strategy going on. So that's pretty exciting. So let's see what else is it. So there's nobody has any questions. So I'm doing this kind of slow. I'm doing my own writing and stuff. I did a little update, and yeah, I kind of I'm kind of like cooking on the writing and stuff. So I'm kind of tomorrow, and then I'm doing a couple of interviews this week. So I got a lot of. I'm gonna probably have a lot of writing done. So I mean, I may even get the one book done this month and stuff. So or at least and stuff because I had to I typed up this kind of I typed up this long story and which was over 10,000 words and another one like just in less than a week. Like it was pretty fast and oh, so it's really good for me. So we're 15. So that's Siren. Don't be afraid. I mean, the the first 2 pages is just kind of like sounds and stuff, and then once you get into once it repeats there, and then there's a lot of songs and quotes from songs in this chapter. Or no, that's the next one. Yeah. There's a lot of and it's just people at the bar. There's not much going on in this chapter. Bloom. Everybody gets there and they're playing music and singing songs, having a few drinks. Like somebody asked me a question about, like what's the big deal about Patty Dignam's death in the one chapter? It's just an ordinary death. This is like an ordinary day, and Leopold Bloom's like an ordinary guy. It's not, like everyone, thinks like in books there's like some sort of catch and stuff. It's just, just how the person writes about it. You could learn. I mean, almost everything about Irish culture I've learned from this book. Basically, that's everything I know about Ireland is this book. And Bloomsday is like the biggest thing in Ireland. That's why a lot of people go there and stuff. And well, that's about it. I've been kind of yammering on. Okay, thanks for listening, and we'll be back in a couple days. Keep on reading. Read on. That's 11. Chapter 12 coming up in a couple days.